Award at Cannes last year for her appearance in The Double Life of Veronique. Also, distinguished journalist Marshall Frady will join us to shed some light on the Reverend Jesse Jackson's decision not to run in this year's presidential race. We began with Linda Lavin. She captured national attention as the divorced mother and diner waitress in the long-running television series Alice. Back on Broadway, she won a Tony for her portrayal of the abandoned wife in Neil Simon's Broadway Bound. This month, Linda Lavin returns to weekly television comedy as star and, get this, executive producer of a series called Room for Two. We're pleased to have her join us now. Welcome.
Thank you,
I didn't realize you won a Tony?
Sure.
I didn't realize
yes,
that.
I did for Broadway Bound.
No, I know you did. I mean, I just said it, but I knew you were nominated, but I didn't realize that you had won that.
You weren't watching.
So many awards.
It was a wonderful year. It was like prom season for me that year.
Yes,
it was indeed.
Life was good. Does it continue to be good?
It continues to be better and better.
Better and better. Now, why?
Yes. Well, the work is good.
Yeah.
And the quality of my life gets better because I am willing to learn from the journey that I'm on.
All right. Now, I want to talk. Well, let's talk about it now. Now, what journey are you on?
I'm on a journey specifically of awareness, self-care, coming out of the denial that I've lived in for a long time.
Denying what?
Denying and being blind to ways in which I've given myself away.
Now, you know what this sounds like to me? This sounds like to me, and help me work through it, all right?
Okay.
It gets, when I hear words like denial and self-care, they sound like, for the lack of a better word, psychological talk.
I sound like a bumper sticker.
Yeah, exactly. How do you tell me what's happening in your life so that we understand it without using those kinds of words?
Well, I agree with you. I do tend to jump to those words. They're familiar to me, and they feel
shorthand, and they're shorthand.
But yes, they are. They also explain something to me, but I'll be happy to be more specific. I'm coming through another marriage and a divorce. A divorce I took to trial, and which is just coming to some closure. It's not
you're in trial now? You're getting ready to go to trial?
Just finishing a trial that was that began last summer. It takes a long time. We live in an equitable distribution state.
Right.
And so the issues and the principles of this case I felt were very important to bring to light, to bring to the court. The allegations were adultery and mental cruelty.
You were accusing him, or?
I was.
Yeah.
And he was trying to get my money. So I stood up for myself and said, in an equitable distribution state, what is equitable if one partner isn't there and the other has made a commitment, emotional and financial? It's a very unusual case because it's very rare that a woman is the wage earner and the privileged one in a partnership, as you know.
The other party is asking for a percentage, an equitable distribution, 50% of community property.
Exactly.
Is it California?
No, this is New York.
This is New York State.
Yes, California's down the middle is community property.
Right.
This is a New York State.
So you're going to blaze new legal ground here, perhaps?
I hope so. Yeah. It's possible. And yet, I didn't do it for that reason. I did it for myself, and that's what I mean about self-care. Yeah. And I'm talking also to the court about the issues of emotional abuse, which are the kind of abuse, Charlie, which is, I think, more insidious than physical and sexual abuse because the scars are invisible. It's the kind of abuse that that wears somebody down, somebody even as successful and highly motivated as me, and someone as successful and highly motivated as I am, redoubles her efforts to make things work, and that is what denial is about. Yeah. It's sort of like blinders. You keep thinking, well, if I'm just cute enough and I pay more and I cook more and I just do better, exactly, then I will fix what's wrong.
Everything will work out.
But you can't figure out what's wrong, exactly. And then a light goes on and you know what's wrong. Yeah. And the issues of emotional abuse are those that I wanted to bring to the court.
Yeah, and the emotional abuse is from the sense of you feeling like psychologically you were
abandoned.
Abandoned, you know, and in a sense feeling abandoned
and betrayed.
And betrayed.
All kinds of issues.
Yeah, and
very real.
And you're saying to the court, you ought to consider this as you look at this issue of equitable distribution.
Exactly.
Even though I'm the principal, whatever source of financial
Exactly.
resources in this relationship.
Exactly.
Because I have suffered,
Yes.
that ought to be a factor as
Yes.
well.
So I'm saying marriage is a commitment. I
Right.
made a commitment. This commitment was dishonored. The person who perpetrated the dishonoring wants yet more than
Right.
the person got during the marriage.
Is it
I'm
a
saying
jury-
let's look at what
is
the
it-
law says about this and how do we open up the law.
Is it a jury trial or just a judge?
No, it's just
a judge.
It's a judge, not a
Okay.
jury trial.
And the decision will come down soon?
Perhaps in the next couple of months.
Wow.
Takes a long time.
And then talk to me. So you're now healing and getting better.
So all of that is, you know, is the walking through fire. That's another metaphor, Charlie. Get used to them. I
okay.
talk that
I know.
way.
Right.
It's like walking through, you know, other people walk on coals. This is sort
Yeah.
of like I choose to do this in life in metaphoric ways. Walking through the pain, walking through the grief, the loss of marriage,
Yeah.
the death of something that I held dear.
Now, all the time this was
is
going on.
over. Then but only through getting through it, only through walking through it, only by addressing it, I think, do you get better and do you feel better about yourself. So that's why I'm in good shape.
Okay, and all the time you were going through all this, you're also serving not only as star, but co-executive producer of this new series, which is called Room for Two.
I have a lot of energy. I can do a lot of things at one time. And so I am doing
and so
this new show.
you made a pilot.
Yes, last month, last year in this very month,
You-
we made the pilot.
Right.
After perhaps a year and a half of development of the script.
Yeah. Now, did you
Takes a long
create this
time.
thing and initiate this thing?
No.
Well, how'd you get to be the co-executive producer? then?
Well, I had a development deal as a result of the success of Alice with Warner Brothers,
Right.
which is a deal in which they hold me. They say, don't go anywhere else to do another series, okay? And I say, okay, and I can do other things. I'd done movies, and I came back to New
Broadway,
York and
right.
did a show, and then I did Gypsy and all of that. So in the meantime, I got a call from Warner Brothers in the fall of '89. Man who was the head of comedy development.
Right.
Called me. I was visiting my sister in Maine at the time. Very auspicious moment. Looking at pictures, photographs, letters from my mother, letters to my mother when I was in college. My sister said, we have all this stuff. Do you want to see this stuff? My mother had died. You met my mother. She
Yes,
was on your
right,
show
right.
in 1982. I went to visit my sister in Maine, and she said, I have shopping bags full of memorabilia.
Wow.
All this stuff is spread on my sister's kitchen table. I get a call from Hollywood, and this man, Scott Kaufer, says, I got an idea for a series. Shoot, say I. He says, how about a story about a mother and daughter?
And you're just looking at all this
me
memorabilia, and you
away.
said, wow.
I said, even
You
if
called
this
me at the
isn't
right
a good
time.
idea, we got to do this.
And so,
Exactly.
and so you play what character?
I play the mother.
Yeah.
Thank you, Charlie. That's very kind of you. I'm the mother of a 30-year-old, overachieving, adorable, articulate, brilliant young producer of a morning talk show in New York.
Yeah.
I come, recently widowed, from Dayton, Ohio, to visit her
Yes.
and stay. Don't move in with her, as has been reported by some press releases, but get my own apartment and get a job working on her show.
All right, roll tape. Take a look at this. Linda Lavin in Room for Two, soon to be seen.
On Tuesday nights on ABC right after Roseanne, 9:30.
What a slot. Here you go.
Considering this?
Well, let's say I was. Because it's an unbelievable opportunity that shows up about as often as Brigadoon.
But do you realize this means giving up everything? Your friends, the house, security, and going to what? New York, which is a tough city. And television, the success rate is like a gazillion to 1. Oh. You know, this move, I mean, something like this, it brings up a lot of questions.
I wouldn't live with you.
That answers most of them.
This is pretty good. I like this. Yeah. Now, she doesn't want you there at all.
Well, of course
Mother,
not.
stay out of New York. It's my
You
town.
know,
I
it's
don't need
okay
you.
to
I don't
come
need
and
a
visit.
chaperone. And if I needed a chaperone, I'd send for one.
Exactly.
Right.
So the issue is this town big enough for the both of us?
And we'll find out as we watch the next
We
120
will.
episodes. We
oh,
hope.
it's a relationship full of potential, Charlie.
Yeah.
It's a mother-daughter show without any bad
and-
jokes
and
about
how-
mothers and daughters, mothers and children. The
About-
jokes are good.
And who's the writer? You know,
The
a bunch of
writers,
writers.
so after that idea was proffered to me, I met the writers, Rick Kellard and
Right.
Wendy Goldman, and I share executive producer with Rick. His partner is Wendy. The Warners put them together, and they created the pilot, which you've just seen a piece
And
of.
they obviously ABC likes it enough
staffed
that
the
they
show.
believe in it, and they're going to put it in after Roseanne, which is the best shot you could have
The
in
best
television,
shot
I
we
guess.
could have, exactly.
Yeah, and how long a run is a commitment to?
Well, we've made 13 episodes.
So will they run 13 episodes, or we don't know, or they'll
If
to be
people watch
seen
it,
later?
they will.
Yeah, and
You know.
but will you stay right after Roseanne for the entire 13 weeks?
If people watch it enough,
this is not like
they
a
will.
one-shot
It's
thing.
No, it's not a one-shot thing. No, it's a bulk. A bulk will be done in that time slot.
Yeah.
And depending on how well we do, they'll keep us
If you
there.
do well, they'll order 13 more.
You bet.
And then 13 more. And then
Exactly.
13 more. And at
Exactly.
some point, you're so rich that you'd
And
never
then-
have to work again, but you'll still work because you love work.
I
Yeah.
do.
Alice made all the difference in the world for you. I mean, I have known you since you did Alice.
Yes.
You know, you started this Working Women Foundation, Working Woman Foundation,
I
right?
was included in it. I didn't
You
start
didn't start
it.
it,
The
but you're
National
part of that.
Commission on Working Women,
Which
yes.
does what?
It's the
honors
only
working-
advocate body in the country, non-governmental commission for the blue and pink collar women. 80% of all women who
Yeah.
work, who are in those low-end, dead-end, low-paying jobs. They have now joined with a group called Wider Opportunities for Women, and they are a training organization. They're the only body in this country that began to research women in these positions who were also single parents, head of households, and found out through the research what was going on in the grassroots with women, what they needed,
Yeah.
then took those findings to policymakers and said, this is real, we need to make changes.
When Alice was a success, did you hear from working women throughout the country saying, here is someone, here is a character?
By the thousands.
And what were they saying?
Thank you. Thank you for showing me me.
Thank you for being real. Thank you for
being real. Thank you for showing what the issues are. Thank you for giving me hope. Thank you for showing me that if Alice can do it, I can do it.
Yeah.
Women on welfare, women on food stamps, women abandoned by their husbands with no means of support, thinking about going back to school, how to do it with babies in high chairs, finding daycare, all the issues that are financial, economic, and social for women. So many of them were answered on Alice. Those women have come up to me and said, I watch reruns at 5 a.m. when I'm getting up to look for a job, putting my kids, and say, my God, if she can do it, I can do it.
Yeah.
That's what Alice
Inspiration.
did. And Alice informed me about these women.
And it gave you a sense of what their life was about
And
because of what they
politicized
said
me.
to you. And politicized
Exactly.
you to do what?
To go out in her pink waitress outfit
Yeah.
on Solidarity Day and speak at the Lincoln Memorial.
Has anything
to go out for
changed,
the
though,
Equal
since
Rights
then?
Amendment? Very little.
Very little.
Very little.
Because?
We're still making 69 cents to the dollar.
Yeah. Why do you think?
Because government is more and more restrictive. Because now we're losing our rights. Our reproductive rights are being our choice rights are being chipped away at.
And you don't have a political candidate. I asked you before we began. You said
Not one now.
you've seen nobody that in a sense that you want to go out and.
Not for president, but I sure have political candidates for Congress.
Yeah.
I'm looking around at women we need to put into the Congress and
Boy,
into
we've
the Senate.
You know, we've already had an upset in the Democratic primary in Chicago, in Illinois. You know, a very bright, young black woman has been nominated as the Democratic nominee for the Senate in the state of Illinois.
Yes, well, I think that we've seen some major changes this year, and I think Anita Hill was one of the reasons.
You know, what do you think that did?
I think it brought to light issues that women have known about for a very long time, and especially now we know that we cannot depend on men, no matter how liberal they are, to speak for us. We must speak for ourselves. It's why I went to court, Charlie. We must speak for ourselves. We must honor ourselves. And perhaps men and women can do this together. And if not, we need to do it in a way that articulates and expresses and brings about the swell of unity. We are here for each other. We just need to find a way to do it.
Yeah.
We can't expect someone to do it for us. We can't wait.
If you were not in the theater and in film and in television and actors, what do you think you might be doing?
There's never been another...
You never thought about anything else?
Well, actually, I did. Okay, there was for a moment. I was going to be a French interpreter at the UN until my French teacher said, "Oi, you think this is easier than being an actor?" What I really wanted to do is to be an actor.
Yeah.
But my parents wanted me to go to college, and it sounded like a very snazzy job, you know, French interpreter at the UN. no.
What's the one great regret?
Nothing else would I
The one
wanna
great
do.
regret of your life?
As you say that, what comes to mind is the regret that's largest at this moment, because I don't know the one of my life, is that I'm hard on myself for any mistakes I have made.
Yeah.
That's a regret, because what I've learned is that mistakes are opportunities to learn from. That mistakes are just missing the mark.
Did you find all this yourself, or is this something that
Not
you
at
got a lot
all.
of help,
I got a lot of help.
a lot of
A lot
hours
of
on the
help.
couch?
I've surrounded myself with, no, I'll tell you, my times on the couch and my times in therapy with men who come from the system that I'm fighting
didn't do
right
it for
now
you.
did not do it for
So
me.
who did it for you? Was it just sisterhood and having friends that you could turn to and give you a network of
I met a
support network?
counselor because I was trying to be a very good stepmother in this
Right.
marriage, and she took a look at the trance that I was in, another word for denial, and
Yeah.
said to me, you got to start witnessing your life. It's not enough to be in it. Take a look at what's going on. She's been a very powerful source of help to me. Two fantastic women attorneys who have taken me into the courtroom, and you can feel the light around us. You can feel the rightness of what we're doing. Friends, support, men and women who understand that what I'm going through is what they're going through. I'm not alone.
One more
It's been a
time.
great journey, and it continues.
And that is the message. A Room for Two is on Tuesday night.
Tuesday night.
Following Roseanne. You get a chance to see it. Linda Lavin, good to see you.
Thanks, Charlie.
Pleasure.
I love being with you. Always have.
Thank you.
Thanks.
We'll be right back. Marshall Frady's here. We'll talk about extraordinary piece of journalism in which he profiles the Reverend Jesse Jackson. More insight into Jesse Jackson than you have ever read anywhere else before comes from Marshall Frady. Back in a moment.